Okay, great.
Doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. My name is Megan. I'm the outreach director for the Hollywood Fringe. I think I know most of you in this room. It's nice to see you all. Thanks for coming to this extremely exciting Post-Fringe town hall. Thank you, Matt, for having us here, as always. Oh, cool. All right, thanks. And a couple of announcements. So this is being recorded. It will be put on the internet, so let's keep it cool. It's also being live tweeted by lovely Miss Bella Luna over here, so people at home can follow along. The numbers and stats and all the fun and fancy facts for the Hollywood Fringe this year will be released soon, but they are not released yet. We are asking that people settle their shows if you have not yet done this at hollywoodfringe.org/settlement. You basically report your numbers and you get your money. That's what happens there. We will ask you for an estimate of your door numbers, which doesn't affect how much we pay out. It's just so we get an idea of how many people came to your show. We pay out 100% of whatever you sold through our site, as per usual. And this is the Post-Fringe Town Hall. So how this works is we are going to review different topics related to Fringe. I'm going to ask you for your feedbacks and questions. So most of this, hopefully, if I do it right, will be you talking and not me talking. Although I will answer questions to the best of my ability if you have them. We will be taking notes. Bex is taking notes right up here in the front. So make sure you speak slowly and clearly for her. And getting your ideas. So we're looking for your feedback. Questions are okay, your ideas. There are no bad ideas for the most part, I've been told. And I do ask that we keep comments constructive and general. So if you do have a question that's really specific, like you had a crazy snafu in your venue or something really weird that happened with ticketing, please email us at support@Hollywood Fringe just so we can use this time to keep it general for everyone as much as possible. Cool. Any questions at this point in time? Okay, great. Con, you don't get to ask any questions. All right, so the first is the registration process. So registering your show, using the Hollywood Fringe site, finding a venue. Do we have any feedback or ideas about that? Did everyone have a good experience with registering online? Yes, I'm seeing nodding. Okay.
No news is good news.
No news is good news. I'm gonna move on then. All right, ticketing. Again, the web experience. Did you find that most of the advice you received about ticketing was accurate?
Yes.
Okay, great. Did you use discount codes on the site? Did that work okay for you? Was everyone able to do that?
Yep. So great compared to all the other damn fringes I've done.
Okay.
Honestly, by far the best producer side in terms of comp codes, comps, discount codes, everything. Best by miles of any fringe I've ever done. It's great. Big fan of what Ben's put together with that website.
Nice. Okay.
You need to speak louder for Ben to hear all of that.
Yeah, Ben also sends his regards. He is home sick tonight, unfortunately. Yep.
I would say something about the site in general. By only having one lead, I guess it's called not lead producer, whatever, leader of the team, sometimes that changes depending on where you are in the process.
Okay.
And sometimes there are two. And it would have been, I'm just thinking back, it would have helped my team a lot had both me and my lead producer been able to get everything that I got, that I would then have to turn around and forward to him, and we were constantly trying to change who the lead was depending on where we were in the process.
Okay.
So maybe you could have the choice of multiple leads.
Okay. Multiple admins on projects?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would second
Got
that,
it.
definitely.
Okay, cool. I think one of the reasons we don't do that is for knowing who the lead producer is for the button, because we do give one button per show, but I think that's great feedback and we can definitely give that forward, having multiple admins. Awesome. Any other feedback on ticketing or managing your project through the site? Yeah.
What I forgot about, tiny tweak from a web dev point of view. We figured this out eventually, but it screwed us and a few other people over. Make it so that past year's shows are automatically by default set to inactive. Where people see which of these shows on the site is yours. It took us a while. We eventually figured out we could set them to inactive so they wouldn't come up in searches. But until we did that, we had people who couldn't buy tickets, couldn't find tickets.
Okay.
So that's a default option. Tiny tweak.
Cool.
Would be really great.
Great. Okay. So now we're moving on to the workshops and town halls that we did pre-festival. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
We sold out our shows, and then if it's possible to add seats
Okay.
to sell, once you sell out, to be able to add seats, because people were like, we still want to see the show, and then maybe a waiting list type of thing.
So adding seats to sold out shows or a waiting list function. Okay, cool. All right. If you think of something later, it's okay to mention it later also. Obviously, this is quite informal. Workshops and town halls. So we had 4 town halls before the festival, I believe. 3 or 4?
3 and then 4 workshops.
Okay, and then we had workshops as well. Can I get a show of hands for who attended those?
Attended.
The workshops or town halls?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Did you find them useful? Were they helpful?
Yes. Very.
Yeah.
Everyone? Yeah?
Absolutely.
I have one suggestion, which may be completely.
No, we'd love to hear it.
There are those of us, I'm afraid, who are somewhat dinosaurs. And so when it comes to tweetering and all of that good stuff, we have no idea what you're talking about. And slowly but surely, we're trying to educate ourselves, but it might be beneficial just for the few dinosaurs and folks who aren't accustomed to it, just to have a short workshop on how to get into that. Because it seems to be such an integral part now of the Fringe, and it seems to be getting more and more so.
Okay. Yeah, we've gotten that feedback from before. I think the odds of that happening are pretty high. Having a social media workshop. Yeah.
I would add to that how Hollywood Fringe works, because New York works its way, and other fringes work their way. Like, in the experience of doing 6 fringes, this is what we have found really helps to push your show. Because it's a specific event that maybe what normally moves a show is different here. Like, we know that just showing up and sticking postcards all over tables isn't going to work. Okay, well, what else is there? So maybe it's even broader than tweet, Facebook, Instagram. Maybe it's how to market your show while you're doing a show.
From other participants in the festival, like more in the workshop setting, or from the festival?
Well, we learn things by talking to other people who've done this or that, and we've done a couple of fringes and compare. Like, we're putting it together. Having been here from the get-go, you guys might know something, and maybe I'm wrong, but maybe you know some things that absolutely work or absolutely don't work, or imperative. Get your poster in the window as soon as possible. Just stuff like that. Things that we found out as we went that maybe at the top, just like a check sheet, like get your Twitter get your Twitter handle, get your posters made, get your postcards ready, all that.
Did you happen to attend the workshops that had like different producers talking about the marketing experience? Because it's something we touch on, but we could definitely stand to expand.
I followed I followed the live tweet of one of them, and I went to the final town hall. What I appreciate about the town halls was that you hit the same information over and over and over and over again, and you need to hit the same information over and over and over again, because you hear it differently, and there's so much going on. There's so many moving parts that sadly, hearing it 4 or 5 times is what it takes for people to go, oh, right.
Okay, cool, great. Anything else as far as workshops and town halls go? Were there tools that you felt like you needed as a producer that you did not get from those? Other things that we can help teach to develop, or find people who can teach it?
Just going back to the social media stuff.
Okay, great.
I think for me, and I think part of this is just like, you gotta make a few, and you gotta make a few mistakes to really like figure out what the hell you're doing. And so I'm not like beating myself up about it. But some of the stuff that I was hearing, like, turned out to, it was just like a little general. I guess the one that I'm thinking about is like, a lot of people were saying like, oh yes, it's definitely, people would go, oh, it's definitely worth it to get the full page ad. Did we get the full? I think did we get the full page? I don't remember what we did. And so that's where the advice is coming from. And I guess like for me, like, we're collecting that data now for ourselves. Like, what yield did we get from that ad or anything? But I guess if there were people who were doing that specifically to have that in the town hall, would just sort of make it that much tighter.
So more specific examples of what yield came from different efforts.
Yeah, if there is such information out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, speaking of specifics, I guess, in publicity, like we did a lot of research on our own to compile like, you know, a list of specific reviewers and websites and where just getting the word out,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just a publicist list basically.
Mm-hmm.
If there were a comprehensive list that you guys made available, that would be super helpful.
We have gotten that request before. I don't think there are plans to share the Fringe's press list, but we do try and share resources that we would recommend reaching out to.
Yeah.
But we could push that forward.
If I may add to that, and this is for the recording, if you go to Facebook, there is a press list on the LA Theater Network that someone has compiled. So that is free for anyone who wants to download it. So go download it.
All right. Is there anyone here who would be interested in attending events year-round? If there were more development workshops and things like that we worked on in the fall,
Oh, yeah.
Totally.
you would?
Earlier the better.
Especially
What would you-
because like I was rehearsing during all of
Right.
the actual town halls, so I just listened to the recordings, and maybe because we rehearsed for a long time, but like I was always like, well, I would love to go, but that's right in the middle.
Right.
So.
Okay.
It does seem to be sort of a kaleidopede as the Fringe starts. You know, you have to do everything. You have to rehearse. You got to get the materials going.
I hear you. Yeah, we
You
pretty
know,
much
so-
the same way.
Well, yeah, if it were spread out a little bit, you know, a bit more of a runway into it, that would probably be beneficial.
Okay. Cool. Noted. So we'll probably be emailing Matt to use his space more often. All right. Anything else about workshops, town halls, resources provided as far as those go? Okay. If it comes up later, let me know. Other tools and resources. So we do have a few other things that we provide that I would love if you have any feedback about this, about our mobile app. People use the mobile app.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Did you like it?
Yeah, that's all I used. It
Awesome.
was great. I mean, when you were jumping from show to show, there was a real nice layout the way that you had it from just time to time. Like I generally didn't know what I was going to see till I got here, and then it was great.
My
Okay,
mom
loved
loved
the
it
app.
too.
Only use the app. Moms use the app. Great.
I just really do wish the app would have better access for your show.
For admin
If-
stuff.
For
Yeah,
admin,
right.
that would be fantastic.
One clarification, how were you part of the app? How was
Me?
that? No, an individual show.
Oh, so the app functioned as a pared down version of the website, so you could purchase tickets, you could see what was coming up
Okay.
chronologically as
So
well
it
as by
was-
location.
It was connected to the website.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've gotten to the wish list part.
Go
about
for it.
that.
Yeah.
What, and maybe for the website too, what would really be great is if you could create a schedule. If you could see, like click that show and it'll show you all the times that it happens. And then as you go, you see, because inevitably what happens is last weekend, they all conflict. And then now you've missed shows and you go back and realize, oh, I could have seen this one here. And then I would have been able to see both. I don't know that.
A scheduler.
A schedule.
Do we have it? It's been on the
Yeah,
short
it's
list
on
for
the
a
list. It's on
while.
the
Yeah.
list.
It'll create one once you've bought tickets.
Right.
It will show you your schedule of what you've already purchased, but I don't think
But not
there's
like a
way-
planner.
Like
Yeah.
if you could use the favorites feature to just sort of automatically generate.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what you should do.
Yeah, now there's something.
I don't know how
about-
computers work.
There's something about that is when you order tickets,
Mm-hmm.
I found a lot of times the theater, I review, so I found a lot of times theaters did not get back to me the first time or the second or the third time.
When
And
requesting press tickets?
When I was requesting press tickets.
Okay.
A couple of them later said, why weren't you there? And I said, because you never sent me any notification, you didn't show up on my schedule. So if there might be some way to indicate tickets that are on order
Yeah.
and pending on that schedule, because the schedule was very helpful, I lived by that.
We do recommend, and we push this at producers pretty hard to make sure that they put the comps through officially, but sometimes people will write in and that will not generate the email for you, so I think we can emphasize that message for
And
both
also, I
producers.
wasn't sure if they were just, not interested in having a reviewer come, oh yeah, or if somehow I had fallen under the cracks, or if They just were out of tickets.
Okay. Got it.
Here's something I found through the admin end was people would request tickets, comp tickets through the site. It was fine, you know, I said, usually I would say, okay, I put you on the list. But when you're actually doing the admin part of doing the comps for people, they ask for the email so you can notify them. If there was a way to somehow do that through the Fringe site, you know, what's their Fringe ID or whatever, some sort of click thing, then
I see.
I think a lot of times it was like, I don't know how to contact this person because I only know through the Fringe site.
Okay. So when adding comps,
If there was some way
is there a way to do it without having that person's email address?
Yeah, just maybe through the Fringe site, you know, notify them through the Fringe
But
site.
if they're requesting through the Fringe site, it automatically does get sent through there.
Yeah.
Like if you're
Does
getting
it?
if you're
Because
getting
what
a
ends up
request.
happening with mine is I'll just get an email from them that says somebody's asked you a question. Can I have comps for?
Oh, so
Yes,
you're getting it
two
specifically
things.
as a message,
Yeah,
not as a
Yeah,
request.
as a message. So
Got
there's
it.
really no way to notify them other than me taking the time to type.
Right,
Right,
exactly.
right, got it.
Yeah. Okay.
Can we talk about the messaging system
Sure.
and how I wanna burn it to the ground?
You can't talk about wanting to burn it to the ground because it's on the internet. But you can talk about
Can I
the system.
internet burn it or something?
No,
Does it
but you
have
can
to-
talk about you can give constructive feedback about the system.
No, just I've found over the years that system has gotten it's just not working.
Okay.
Because especially when, you know, like when I was contacting people to come and see their show for awards, then it's like I have to make sure that I include my email address, or else that might have been what was happening to you to a certain extent. That, you know, it's just not, I don't understand why it can't connect to an email address
Okay.
automatically. Instead of, it's like I hate having to go into a whole other system to
Yeah.
check these messages.
Okay.
It's not time efficient.
Got it.
For me, for the life of me, I still cannot figure out why I've cleared all of the preferences in Google, I've cleared all the preferences in my actual mail client, and still the Hollywood Fringe emails go directly to my trash. And for the life of me, I cannot solve this mystery. And so I sort of have to check the trash like every couple hours during the Fringe to be like, all right, who's trying to get into this show? Like reviewers or
Right. That
probably unique
is
to me.
probably a mail client.
Is
But-
the email in
Right.
your contact list? Do you have a contact created for?
Yep.
And it's still?
Yep. Yeah, it's a whole thing. But that was my experience of just like, and then, you know, not being able to deal with any of the messages through email, but having to go
Log into
do
the site.
thing.
Okay.
I had a similar problem. You may have heard between Dave and I, we just could not communicate via the email.
Okay.
I mean, one out of every four would get through to me. They wouldn't go into my spam. You know, and I checked every place else they might have gone, except under my cat's blankets, you know.
Okay, let me know if you find them there, in which case we have a whole different issue. Okay. Okay, that's great feedback on the messaging system. So some sort of way to respond to and use it without having to log into the site makes total sense. Anything else about the mobile app? Okay, great. Fringe TV, did you watch it? Did you use it? Was it helpful to you? No feedback there is good feedback. Everyone loves Fringe TV.
I ended up
No?
seeing it really late. I mean, I didn't even know about it until maybe the last week of Fringe.
Okay.
So, it was when I was seeing it in the bar that I was like, oh wait, there's stuff to see.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I didn't know much about
I
it.
did.
You might want to edit a couple emails occasionally, you know?
Yeah.
Super easy.
Having seen it the last few years, I wonder if it's not really working, I think, at the level that they want it to work at, and maybe if it could transfer into something more like trailers, I think that would get you a lot more like views.
Trailers for shows?
Like the trailers are already up there.
Yeah, that's something we wouldn't generate. We do interviews for shows, and those are all online.
Right,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
to make them,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
looking at the number of hits over the years,
Yeah.
you get more hits from a Facebook post, and I think if Fringe instead offered any group that had a trailer to put up there, that would, you know, people then can go push it to the trailer page. I think for the amount of effort that everybody goes through it too, I just don't know if it's worth it.
The
Especially having seen it
payoff
in a few
isn't there.
years.
Yeah.
Okay.
But having watched a few, they're great. Like the content is great. They're funny.
Yeah.
And they're informative.
I think they end up being useful often for people who are not here as much early on, but that's good. That's good feedback. Yeah.
I, like a lot of people, apparently didn't really realize it existed. existed. Maybe
Okay.
push it in some of those newsletters that go out. Just
Okay.
occasionally, whoever said that sounds like a good idea. You know, but, oh, by the way, meanwhile on Fringe
Right.
TV, have you checked it out?
Right.
Did you know it existed? That sounds like that's the issue. It sounds like it's good, but
Should
no one
it
knows
be
it's
two-sided?
That'd be good. I'd appreciate that.
Do you guys release them all as one big chunk, or they get
No, they
updated?
come out throughout the festival.
Okay.
They're always put on Twitter, but I know there's a lot of activity on Twitter. You cannot embed video in email using MailChimp, but you can like kind of hack it and take a photo and do it that way, so that's totally possible. Go ahead.
I'm personally a big fan of the Fringe TV stuff. I just think it needs to be put out there better. You know,
Okay.
just more awareness.
Better
around it. So
messaging.
I think the content's great and it's solid, and I enjoy the opportunity that presents for word to spread kind of organically and in an interesting, funny fashion. I think it's great. Just getting the word out.
Cool. Yeah.
Fringe TV sounds like something. So I wonder if it's just not a little confusing, but it's just like, go to our YouTube page. You know what I mean? Because people know what that is, and you know where everything is. Whereas Fringe TV sounds like, well, at this point, I don't know what it sounds like. It sounds like a channel, like a studio. I just remember I heard about it last year, and I didn't even think about it, because Fringe TV, that sounds like something else that I'm gonna have to get involved with.
Got it.
And, you know,
Okay.
whereas if it's just, you know, YouTube videos, well, I know what that is.
Okay.
You know, everybody knows what that is.
Yeah, I guess like knowing what it is, I was like, oh, Fringe TV, that's just where they post videos online. But if you didn't, but like I can also see it as being like, oh, is that like when they do the cabaret space or something?
Right.
It's something else you have to sign up for.
Right.
Yeah.
More
Okay.
hassle than.
Yeah.
Possibly having like the Fringe TV crew with the big Fringe TV banner be around the Fringe more, just visibly present and aware, doing vox pops with audiences, you know, because then people are seeing it, they're, oh, Fringe TV is around, it's a thing that, you know, random idea.
You need
might not
hats.
Crew shirts.
Hats and shirts.
It's so funny because we're there every day, so I'm like, Fringe TV was constantly at Fringe Central, but I
Yeah.
was also there every day. Cool. How about the newsletters? Did you guys use the newsletters, find them useful? Was there information that you missed in the newsletter that you would like to see in the future?
Goes back to that social media thing.
Okay. Gotcha.
I liked it for creating. We've created now a like template for doing a Fringe show. That's like we use Asana and everything for managing it all. And it's just like great, plug and chug with our Fringe show based off of those newsletters from this year and the last time we did
Great.
the Fringe. And like, so that's super useful.
Okay. Awesome.
And with the newsletters, they get posted on the blog.
So they get sent directly to your. There's two
Right,
different kinds.
along
Yeah.
with that,
Participant
right.
and then general. They
Okay.
do not all hit the blog.
Okay. Some of the information, I think there's a lot of times hunting for emails with information that maybe can be synced with the web. And in general, the web information, it's like, is it in the blog or the list of things to do, especially current information that gets sent out. And certain information like the awards, I think could be sent out more.
Okay.
In terms of notifying people. With so much information, I don't know if people feel that they've lost stuff.
Yeah, that's actually one thing I almost missed was the Encore Awards. It was like 2 weeks in, and I realized, and then it was like random, and I was like,
That
oh.
they were happening.
Yeah, that we needed to actually apply for it.
Yeah.
Like and then we ended up getting one, so I was like, oh shit,
Gotcha.
I wouldn't have gotten
We
it.
don't actually run the Encore Awards, but that's
But
sponsored
the
awards.
list,
Yeah, that you have to
the
apply
list
for.
you send is awesome. It's
Yeah.
got it all. I just think maybe once again,
Yeah.
or make it, there's no link on the site that says award information. Like if there could be, again, so I think some of the information that you guys have, which is wonderful, gets lost in the site, and that can be made clearer, and especially things like awards, because there was a link, but you had to kind of know it, or get
Okay.
it from the email.
Have it on there.
I had a problem, maybe there is, that I just could not find or I wasn't aware of, but when trying to find the shows that had been continued,
The extensions.
the extension shows, I thought, I kept looking at the site going, is there a thing that says, and I don't know if there is, but.
We have a link at the very top of the homepage.
What's it
that
called?
says that. It's banner. It says Fringe Extension information here. I
Okay.
think something like that. Yeah.
I try to look again, but maybe a little bit bigger for Ernest.
Okay. Okay. Bigger links on the homepage. Got it.
Is there a
yeah.
like a not depot, but like a place where previous newsletters are archived?
Yeah, like an archive.
No.
Just like a link at the top that's like, in case you missed it.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be super useful.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Also, as someone who constantly works on the assumption he's about to miss a deadline, he doesn't even know it's there, really liked having those timeline dates in every newsletter. That was great. And possibly augment them with, and by the way, things for awards or fringe tea, or like other things you might be sad if you don't realize they're on. Things that you'll be sad if you miss them. Like you've got all the deadlines there, which is great, and that's fantastic. So maybe even keep doing those and maybe add some of the other stuff as well.
Just to follow up on your comment about the shows that were on after the Fringe was over, I wanted to try and find some shows to go and see, and I went to your webpage, and there was no obvious way to find it, no logical way. Now you're saying there was a link at the top of the page, but to me that sounds like you're an insider and you understand how the system works. My point is, I wanted to see some shows, I went to your website, and I could not find out how to do it.
Okay, we'll definitely emphasize that. Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet. Anything else about that? Okay, the Hollywood Fringe button and the hotspot program. Do people know about the hotspot program, like where you get discounts at places around town with your button on? Okay, it sounds familiar.
I figured it out about a week in.
Okay.
But
yeah.
you know, we were all busy doing things, so it's...
I didn't realize it was a whole program. I just knew that the cafe.
Okay, cool. So no one had any issues with it, but it wasn't on the
well
top of
known.
anyone's list.
Right.
Do the venues usually have like a thing on their door that says you're a fringe hotspot?
They have
They-
venue
yes.
signs,
Okay.
yeah, and then the hotspots themselves, yes, they do have.
Okay,
They
but I didn't
have.
see anyone
Theirs
on
are like
there.
8x10s rather than like the big 22 by 30 poster. I just made up those dimensions. I'm not for 22. 14 by 57. So they do. They're 8x10s. Our hotspot program manager did go by and try and make sure that they were all in prominent places, although some were not. Okay. All right. Meetups and networking that happen during the Fringe Festival. So things like mixers after town halls and workshops, the office hours with the Drinking About Fringe tag, using those types of in-person events. Did people here attend them? Did they use them? Did they enjoy them?
I'm sorry, I just wanted to stop back with the buttons.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
One thing I did mention, we had, with Fringe Central opening up the first week into it, we had all the participants were here at TEX, and everybody asked me for buttons.
That's right.
So it was brought up like next year,
we
have the venues.
Yep.
Some, you can stop by and work something out. I know it's tough because money's being collected, but it was so awesome to see her seeing so many buttons. I don't know if you guys have numbers. It must have been a lot more.
Billions.
It felt like a billion, but there was definitely demand earlier.
Yeah.
And it was really good
we
too.
get
Guys
that.
got out, and those seemed to fly off the shelf as well.
Okay.
So.
More buttons and venues
Buttons.
is great. If we can figure out how to do that.
Or at the hot spots. I don't know. Maybe there's a tie in there. That may be asking them for more than we probably want them to do.
But
venues.
venue seems possible.
Yeah.
Another good time might be like at tech rehearsals. Like I know I didn't get it. I don't think any of my actors got buttons because they weren't totally involved with Fringe or felt kind of peripheral. But if all of a sudden if someone were assigned to go bring a batch of buttons, say, hey, we got buttons.
Yeah.
I bet we probably would have sold 5 buttons to my cast. You know,
Okay.
one fell swoop, but they weren't going to seek them out. You know?
Got it. Awesome. Anything else button related?
They look nice.
Thank you. I didn't design them, but
Buttons
still
at
thank you.
previews.
Buttons at previews?
Yeah, because I had wanted to pick up a button that I actually had bought one that over the internet and couldn't pick it up until Fringe Central opened.
Got it. Okay. We'll try and solve that one, yeah.
Just to echo the feedback that was given a second ago, I think it is kind of important for us to start. I just having been at the festival since pretty much the beginning, you notice that a lot of people within the community are the producers, you know, within the intimate group, or the you know, or the people who've been around forever and are just, you know, connected with everybody else. I think if we make more of a concentrated effort to involve the actors and the crew and everybody else involved in the productions, because it seems like there's always the concentration of information just with the producers.
Sure.
If there's more of the concentrated effort to go, no, the button is for everybody, including the actors, including, I think that just
add that to the narrative.
Yeah, adds it to the narrative, but it also just expands the community and creates greater involvement, et cetera, and encourages people to be much more part of this. So encouraging that the idea that the button is for everybody, making that much stronger.
Okay.
Not to eat onto the money side. What do you charge now for buttons?
It's $5 for a normal human and $3 for a superhuman, also known as a participant.
A participant. So if companies could buy, if they get a bunch, they get super. I mean, that's pretty cheap already. It's just ways of people getting it to pass out to their company.
Yeah, I know at events we definitely sold many at a time, but I also understand the need to have the desire to have that sooner and be able to skip that step in a party for sure. Yep.
What was the hotspot list like? When did you guys
They were included in newsletters.
in the beginning?
Yeah. They were mentioned throughout, but I would say mostly probably in the couple of weeks before the festival that you were busiest trying to make sure your show was.
Well, I signed on for a profile kind of later once we got started, so I guess I had missed everything that had, been sent out prior to the dates of starting my profile, but I guess if we have an archive, I can go back and get things that I didn't.
If we did, yes. Yeah. The hotspots were mentioned online. I don't remember how far before the festival, to be honest, in the weeks prior.
There was also a full list in the program, like smack dab in the middle.
Yeah, they were as a guide. Yeah.
I actually have a question.
I'll get you right next. Yeah, go ahead.
There was some confusion with my team because I was the project lead, so I was automatically given a button online. So things that were discounted to participants were discounted for me, but not for them. Mm-hmm. You can buy the button online and it applies. That's a thing that one can do.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. Okay, great. Oh yes, go ahead.
I'm
sorry.
I'm just curious. I signed up everybody, once I got my cast all on board and added them all to my project, were they getting those newsletters as well?
If you put their email address in there, they would be getting the participant newsletter. Yes. Cool. Any feedback about the Mixers social events prior to the festival?
Well, I know that every week I would have to go through the blog and try and find what the list was, and that's like, this is this week's and next week's in the newsletter. We kind of
okay. So for the office hours, putting in the newsletter.
Every time I didn't know where I was going.
So putting in the newsletter, here's where we are this week. Here's what we'll do this week. Okay. Yeah. Great.
I don't know if you consider it a town hall meeting, but we've discussed having the venue meeting earlier in January.
Great.
And get that, and I don't know what you guys felt with the tech one. So that was at a certain time. I know there was some discussion if it was too early, too late, but that tech meeting seemed very positive, and that guide they did was awesome. And the other thing that could kind of be, I don't know if you thought about layering it into it, but we did those solo workshops, solo mixers things, and Christian.
There was a
Jaeger.
workshop, I think. Yeah, we didn't.
Yeah,
post
Jaeger
it, but
did one,
and
then Les and I did two.
Yeah.
And it could be coordination with that, and then Heidi Powers and I tried to get a musical one. To just get all the musical groups. Again, I mean,
more genre
not
specific.
town hall everyone, but that sense of mixture and community.
Yeah.
Working with Fringe to coordinate some of those.
We love that and definitely encourage it. If people want to do genre-specific workshops,
The solo show gathering is just very pleasant.
That's great.
Just because of the people one met.
What's that? People what?
The people one met.
Very good.
It was interesting to talk about shows. And go, really? Bobby Darin.
Cool. Okay, good. Well, we will encourage those people to do that again. That's great. Anything else on the mixer side? Okay. So we've already talked a little bit about social and just the need for more education about how to use it. Sort of like a social media 101. Is there any other feedback about social? Did you engage with us online, like Twitter, Instagram, email, people who use this?
The Twitter chats were fantastic.
Liked the Twitter chats. Good.
Yeah.
Any other feedback about the social?
My neighbor breaking through it in the street.
You wrote your name on a brick and threw it in the street.
Cool.
I don't have a joke for that. That's just, that's the line, yeah.
How do you feel about Instagram? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that Twitter really, like, my Twitter game is not so tight, but someone on my team does, and that's like we made tons of friends. Like that's where we made the real connections and got a lot more interest there than just from sometimes even from just standing in Fringe Central and handing cards to folks. I mean.
Yeah, it seemed really strong, especially Twitter seems so strong this year, and people making those connections earlier, and then it fed into the social gatherings at the bars, and everybody's like, oh, you're that person, oh, you're that person, and that kind of helped them build to the stronger friendships that formed. So how did you feel Instagram did? Because that also seemed really
great.
That was a great.
I felt
and
like
this was
it
your
great.
first year.
Yeah, I loved it. Terrific.
Because it seemed to, I mean, from what I think you were saying too, the numbers where you started to where you ended, like people got into it this year.
Yeah, we focused on it more as a platform for engagement this year. It's not necessarily a great information delivery tool, Instagram, because it's so visual, and we wrote very heavy captions. I wrote very heavy captions on everything because we were trying to use it for information delivery. But as an engagement tool, it's great. It's not something that I would say you should necessarily spend a lot of time on. Like, I wouldn't generate a whole account for a show unless it's something that you're planning on doing for a long time. Just because it is a lot of work to develop followers on any type of social platform. And so if you have an account on your own that you already use, then great, put your Fringe stuff in there. But I'm already looking at like the other 6 months of the year and figuring out how to engage people on that platform. It's not really gonna happen.
I was surprised to use it as much as I did. I had only started my account 2 weeks before Fringe started.
Yeah.
And I mentioned it in one of the workshops, and they're like, use it for your thing.
Yeah.
That's why I got a lot of it.
Oh, yours was great.
It's a good visual tool.
That was, he had great stuff, great content.
I think if somebody has a visual show, like if you're building anything or doing something, that's the way you use it.
Yeah, we talked about that. It's definitely a more. It's less. Instagram's not conversational. It's content based, so it's like pictures of stuff, video stuff. If you have a quick wit and can caption things well, I saw many of those. Those were really great. Yeah.
I was going to say that the Facebook, I know, is not as hip with all the kids anymore, but it does, I think, bridge a gap. You know, for those that aren't as Twitter savvy or Instagram interested, then that the Facebook, and when I would check it, it seems like that was kind of not as current as the rest of everything else that was happening.
So more regular updates on Facebook.
I think that it might be a good thing, just to help engage people that really aren't going to be doing the other things. Just, you know.
Yeah, Facebook is tricky because it doesn't get seen very often unless you go directly to the page looking for information. But it is good to know that people are still using it.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think also the more you post, the more it gets seen.
No.
No?
It's the opposite.
It's the
So
opposite.
you all aren't seeing my stuff all the time?
So from a person, so from an individual, the algorithm is slightly different. If you have a page, like an organizational page, the more you post, the more it deprioritizes, unless you're getting activity on that post, like people are liking it or commenting on it, or you boost it with money.
Well, then encourage
So
them
we did
to do
boost
that
it
via Twitter and.
Yeah, a lot of the reasons why individuals from the staff end up sharing Hollywood Fringe Festival pages posts is to try and get that organically, but it is a lot of, but yes, no, I mean, we can still update the page more regularly for sure.
I was just going to add to that, because I did notice too the Facebook kind of drop, and what was interesting, how it's affected it, there was somebody, Sam Junde, somebody from the lounge created this Fringe participant page. And that actually got a lot of activity. Great. And this kind of goes along the line of, like, you know, exciting groups doing their own type of things. And I do know, in fact, I think it was Michael Shaw Fisher that posted something out there like, I just heard about this. So maybe with some of these independently done Facebook pages and stuff, if there's a way to get that information, you guys, to let people go out.
Well, that was great, because the regular Hollywood Fringe site, you can't really were we allowed to post our own things onto there? No.
So you can post on it, but it doesn't show up. This is again a function of pages versus people. It doesn't show up in the feed of the Hollywood Fringe. It shows up in this tiny box to the left that says "Post on this wall." You'll note this with any organization page, like.
Because that's why I ended up over Hollywood Fringe. Participants.
Got it.
That was the main news feed there.
Yeah. Something that we can talk about.
Really active.
Pages versus groups. Because pages are crap on Facebook. I'm a social media director. I'm going to tell you right now. Pages are crap on Facebook. Groups are where it's at, which is why for the cabaret specifically, I created a group. It's where people go and join. Every single post that's put in there, you'll get a notification that says so-and-so posted in this group.
They're more communication oriented.
Maybe that's something we
They're
can
conversation oriented
for creating an actual Fringe participant group that's run by staff.
That's good to know.
Maybe that's, something to talk about, something to think about. I mean, I know for sure, definitely there's one for cabaret. And that I allow people to post in there to promote their shows, whether you're doing a cabaret set or not. So find the cabaret one, that runs year round. I'm on that.
And that's a group?
So,
I'm sorry.
that is, yeah, it's
That's
a Fringe Cabaret group. I think the URL is HFF Cabaret on Facebook. But if you just type it in, it's in there. Also, I think it's linked on the Twitter for Cabaret, HFF Cabaret.
I can't understand why anyone would be confused about the internet or social media. What's so hard to understand? Yeah, I'm like, oh, no more. Okay. Anything else
how to work
about
a slide ruler?
Great. Next year it's #HFF Abacus. We're gonna do it all. Anything else about social media? If our heads are not spinning enough, you can also bring it up later if you'd like to. Great. Events and parties that the Hollywood Fringe Festival hosted during the festival. So, as you, I'm sure know, we had an opening night party, a runway party, a prom party, a Fringe Rocks party, and a closing night party, besides all of the other nights that the bar was just open and popping off. Any feedback about events, parties, suggestions for other types of events you might like? Yeah.
More places to sit in all of them.
No.
It's very hard to find seating at most of the Fringe Center parties.
Got it.
Minor point, but
seating.
I kept noticing every night. I'm like, I really want to sit down somewhere. There's nowhere.
Yeah.
Particularly having just often done a show and being exhausted, I want to just sit for a moment.
You can bring one of those canes that folds out of your chair.
I like it.
Like they have for museum too. Any other feedback about parties or events?
I thought the Firefly was great. Dragonfly.
The Firefly though.
Firefly.
A different venue. That was the after hours. The Dragonfly was great.
Over the tent, I thought like actual bar.
Yeah, we liked that too.
Yeah,
that was nice.
Oh, it would be nice if the bar had a little more, better beer.
It's been noted.
Oh yeah, it's
It's on the list.
Yeah.
I missed the Strongbow this year.
The staff had very similar feedback about the beer and cider options. We're drinkers as well.
Okay. Comment I'll throw out, and I saw it a lot with when we had our venue party the first week. And I don't know if you guys thought it with the parties, and I'm always torn with the parties and like karaoke, which I love so much, is that tearing away from people to go see shows versus going to a party event, and when those are kind of timed out. And I thought maybe the karaoke the last weekend on a Friday was kind of a tough thing, and that the parties themselves, like our venue party, we started at 10. People didn't show up till 11:30. Because it's when the shows were over, which was great. I mean, you almost want to see that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys felt that with some of the parties. Are they just naturally are people coming in later, and should they be geared later, or that line between taking from audiences and pushing the part? It's fine.
Well, just to kind of cap on that, I would almost suggest maybe putting the parties on nights when Fringe is typically quieter, like the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, simply because all the events being Thursday, Friday are the ones that were. I wasn't able to go to them because I was seeing shows, and I had my shows stacked. And I mean, granted, I saw 65 shows, so I'm kind of the exception, not the rule.
So you were busy?
Maybe a little.
It's really hard to see that.
Right.
I think
I spent about a total of 10 minutes at the party.
The Note About Fringe Rocks is a good one. The other parties are on Wednesdays.
Yeah, I mean,
But,
maybe
you know.
even Wednesdays are. I noticed that Monday, Tuesday is like the ideal dead zone
Monday.
where there's like very few shows.
Yeah,
going
also a
on.
hard day to throw a party. But
Well, Monday,
still a good
but
note there. Still a good
If
note
we
there.
make it a destination, that could be what helps get more people down there on those nights when it's later.
People need to recharge on Mondays. Is what we've found over the years.
Yeah.
Mondays and
That's
Tuesdays are people.
Yeah.
We can throw out money on the floor and people will stay at home. they need to sleep.
It's not to say we would never adjust that schedule. That's good feedback.
That's good.
We found that we would always post a start time as early so that if people wanted to drop in before they went to see shows they could. And then it usually hit its peak busy at about 11 p.m. Our numbers were fine. I mean, they were pretty good.
Yeah.
But they're also thrown as, again, like sort of those midweek revival pre-weekend kickoffs is the idea that we have there when we're throwing events, but good to think about.
Yeah.
Cool.
One thing is the sort of the rub of the Friday night, and this is not necessarily parties, but just generally Fringe Central Friday, Saturday night. Your last show is at 11:55. You come out, you're all hopped up on Fringe. By the time you get to Fringe Central, you got 45 minutes and then it's done. So I was thinking maybe venue parties that can be closed door because it's private. I went to the Asylum one over at the Lily, and I was just thinking, coming from Chicago, and like that's what you do. Like that's how you control the time. That's how you control the alcohol and all that. It's just a closed party. And that frees you of that 2 a.m. Fringe is over.
Sure.
Time to go home.
Yep.
Because a lot of us kind of take June off, and that's like Fringe. You know, like I'll spend as much time at a Fringe something as I possibly can. And when it knocks off at 2 o'clock, and there are a lot of people just kind of wandering, wandering around the streets, like, is anything going on? Nope.
Right.
You know.
So you're saying that next year you're gonna have the after parties at your apartment?
Yes. It'll be Culver City, and I'll have a shuttle.
I'm joking. No, I mean we definitely feel that too. And trust us, when we hit like 150 and we have to kick 100 people out of a bar, we're bummed too, because that's
Sure.
It's great for us to have people there. Legally, we can't do that, as you have noted. If venues wanted to have more parties, I would also probably attend them. So I would say that would be something to ask your venue about. We would never host those because that's their space, that's their time, and often they are also locking up and coming back the next morning at 9 or 10 to unlock again. So I could see it happening, but I think that would be something to suggest to a venue manager. I know several of them are hearing this now and will be hearing it later, but they've got a whole other business to run there too.
That'd be super cool if, all right, Fringe Central, we're closing down tonight over at Complex. If you want to continue on,
Hear that, Monica?
I pull a name out of the hat.
You bring the beer.
There you go. Talk to her. All right.
Yes, I know something we ran into. I've never done Fringe before. And when we did our preview, we kind of treated it as our first thing. And so we had a 2:30 in the afternoon preview. And afterwards we were like, okay, if you want to see us, we'll be over at the 3 clubs. And then we found 3 clubs was not open. So I don't know if there's some
having them open earlier during previews.
That
we've certainly asked them.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
we will continue to ask.
But we didn't even know that wasn't even going to be open. We were just like, oh yeah, we'll just go over there and.
Sorry.
So I don't. No, I just it wasn't anything. But Fringe Central wasn't even open yet, so I was like, I didn't know where we should say. Because that's kind of the go-to thing after the show. If you want to meet us, we'll be at such and such.
Yeah, I've also found out the hard way that Sassafras also isn't open until 6 o'clock. I've discovered on my own. Me and Yelp, I guess. During preview week, we don't have the resources to have Fringe Central open during that time, nor a liquor license that extends that amount of time for temporary space. But we'll think about that.
Maybe a list of places that are open during that time.
Maybe.
What if you do BYO?
So there's some implications there as far as being an organization that does operate a bar establishment, and then encouraging BYO is not. We can't do that.
Pre-opening.
We can't do that. If a venue wanted to do that, that would be totally up to them and their own rules. Or if you just like want to drink in the street, like again, at your own risk. I'm not saying I haven't done it or wouldn't do it, but just.
And that's why we started doing the venues. We do
Yeah.
the preview week. Each of us take a night to let and then Fringe blast that out, and it came from walking the streets after a preview week and somebody going, I got these cards, I don't have any place to pass them out. Let's have a party.
Right. And then by the end of June, everyone is like, I don't ever want to see any of you again. Cool. Good advice. Good thoughts. Anything else about Fringe Central feedback? So more seating. We have that. You liked it.
Great
we
food
need better
trucks.
beer and cider. Great food trucks.
Yeah, the food trucks were awesome.
Word up to Lois.
Yeah.
That's
More
neat.
air conditioning would be spectacular.
More air conditioning. Okay.
And at the risk of sounding ancient, just a little bit less volume
Quieter.
inside so people can talk. Because actors love to freaking talk about what they're doing.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening is everybody's outside because they want to talk.
Okay.
You know, and I think that would help up into a certain time when everyone's been drinking and no one cares. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we try and balance it out, but we get that.
Yeah.
At the risk of also sounding old, I would totally agree with that.
Yeah. Oh,
At
see,
the risk of
he's much
sounding
younger than
really
me.
cool and awesome.
Loud.
Yeah. I really love the crossover, those nights, like the costume play night.
Yeah,
And I
that's
guess
correct.
the bear night, which I wasn't there, was kind of interesting.
It was
But that idea of those events are awesome. What's that?
I didn't know that was happening, and I walked in and I was like, you're all dressed the same.
Why do I feel like they?
Any other thoughts, questions, suggestions about Fringe Central? All right, we'll turn it down, guys. We'll turn it down. Awards. I'm kind of moving through the timeline here, so feel free to chime in. The awards that I heard already that somebody felt like they almost missed award information.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So are you talking about the voting notice that comes out, or the?
Well, specifically, there was the Encore Awards where you had to
signing up,
apply
signing
for it.
up.
Like I thought that just came with your registration.
Got it.
You're in the hat for Encore.
Okay.
Awards. And then the other awards, I can't recall. Yeah, I don't know how many of those. Whether those required applications or not. I didn't-
Yeah. So we have two types. There's the sponsored awards, which you have to apply for in most cases. So those are run by organizations that are not ours, or companies that are not ours. And then there are the community awards, which everyone is automatically included in. Those are the ones that we vote on. Those are the ones where the notice comes out late because we're trying to get as many people included as possible. And so there are a lot of people who because we also get the feedback, oh, I didn't see that show until Saturday night and I already voted, and we try to catch up there. So we try and find that timing, but it is hard. Any other, yeah, go ahead.
I had a hard time tracking down the list of the awards this year if I didn't have that specific newsletter.
Okay.
You know, so the article on the website that had all the
Yes, I have that as a note here earlier, like a big button that's very obvious about award info.
Yep. Yeah. Other than that, I think the only thing I would want to know, and maybe this is just a design note for Ben, is just making sure that or just wondering if there's some way that when ballots are cast, I saw just on Facebook a lot of through the day of the awards when the ballot went out. A lot of people were sharing the link on Facebook, and a lot of people were tweeting the link to, hey, vote for my show, vote for my show. And I was just wondering if there was any sort of account validation that's involved, like when somebody logs into the Fringe
There
site.
is, you have to be logged in, right?
Well,
You
yeah.
have to be logged in and have qualified.
Oh, so it actually does check for qualifications as well.
Yeah, if you just signed in and you hadn't qualified and went to that link, there wouldn't be anything there. It would just redirect you.
Oh, really? Okay, so but even if you had a Fringe account and you weren't qualified, you get redirected as well?
That's right.
Okay, cool. I was just curious, just because that was one of the things that I saw a lot of people putting the link out there.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if there was any sort of, protection. against
Happily there is.
it. Rock and roll. Kudos to Ben.
You know, my organization is going to be looking into doing sponsored awards next year.
Great.
But I also was thinking, because I like awards.
Me too.
Obviously.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
If there was I know the press if there was actually a way to combine all of the reviewers to do a press award category.
That would be in the hands of someone from the press who wanted to organize such an award, and it would be a sponsored award. Yeah,
That's
certainly
cool.
doable.
That's
Certainly doable. Critics pick or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, if it would be possible to get a listing of the press, I would handle that.
You need to learn to use Twitter first.
Yeah, there's we don't know. We as an organization, trying to be as aware of as many outlets as possible. We have no way of assembling a list of everyone who's involved in press on the Fringe, their contact information, and then we also wouldn't share that. It's a sharing contact
I know, like
information
when
press
the
outlets.
reviews come up on the individual.
Yeah, there's a list of outlets, but we would never provide contact information for those people.
No, there's no contact, but there are the outlets.
You know who you could reach out to though? You could reach out to the LA Drama Critics Circle, maybe and just ask if they'd be interested in coordinating something like that.
That's good, yeah. That's good.
You know, get an LADCC Fringe Critics pick or something like that. That would be something pretty cool. And there's already a lot of people in DCC involved in Fringe with Pauline and Stephen from Stage Raw and a bunch of people. So.
Yeah.
New venue's awesome.
The new venue's awesome.
New
Oh
venues.
yeah, it is. Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
that's
For a second, I was like,
awesome.
what? It's the Montalban. Yeah.
Oh,
Talk about air conditioning. We walked in there and we were like, big upgrade from the loading dock. Big upgrade. Yeah.
It felt like
real awards.
Yeah. Like what
I
we
agree.
deserved from all the hard work, just like being there.
Yeah.
Bar upstairs, it's
Absolutely.
beautiful. Stage was great.
Yeah, we also felt that way.
And great planning with the flow of award picture coming down. That was just so nice, and it made a lot of awards go very quickly, and was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we also had a great time. Thanks everybody for being there.
Are the awards always the same time at the year, like the last day
Yes,
of Fringe
yes.
at 6 o'clock?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
just so I
They're
know.
always the same time of year. They're not always the same venue.
No,
as we
I
all know.
figured.
Yeah, last year they were literally in a loading dock.
We had a show at 6 o'clock on the 28th, so I was kind of like, that'll
Gotcha.
be fine next year.
Yes, we black out opening night so that no one has a show conflict, but on the last day of the festival we don't black any dates out because people are still trying to get shows in.
Sure.
Although yes, that timing does prevent some people, if they don't know, from being able to attend. Yeah. For the record, we would always love to have awards in a venue that is beautifully efficient and has real chairs. And if there's ever a year again that we don't, it's not for lack of trying, I can assure you guys. Yeah. Was there feedback?
Could we be notified when it was being scheduled that is the date of, because we got our show booked and we had no idea that was the same time.
Yeah.
And so we missed it.
And I actually thought it was 7, which is why they were booked.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Got it.
But then, and I always send out a thing, and was it 6 or 6:30? But then I thought I got back, so okay.
Oh, I do know that. There were doors at 6, and then the awards were at 6:30. I'm saying also, I'm going to backtrack slightly. I did just say, yes, it will always be the last Sunday at 6 p.m. If next year, like, Pantages was like, have it here, but it has to be at 7:45, then it would probably be at 7:45. So again, like, we're always trying to balance between finding the right venue, the right time, what works for them, what we can afford to do. But it will always be the final day of Fringe, evening time, prior to the setting of the sun. I would assume. Yeah, but yes, announcing that earlier and letting people know. We always announce it as soon as we know, but again, with trying to organize venues, sometimes we don't know until after people have already registered, which is awkward. Anything else about awards? Do you guys like the balloon arch?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so we're kind of wrapping up here, and now it's time to talk about the future. What would you like to see? I mean, it's already kind of been the theme of the whole thing, but we are looking to always develop and create new resources for people, new ways for people to engage with the Fringe Festival. Are there any major gaps that we haven't already covered that you would like to see at Hollywood Fringe? Are you likely to recommend Hollywood Fringe to other people? What are the things about it that you really want to see more of in the future that you liked? That you were like, oh, I don't want them to forget to do the awards in this space again next year. Anything like that I can share with my team? Yes.
I don't know, somebody came up with an idea of, it always seems that Gay Pride is like the first weekend or the second weekend, the same time that it's going on. Hence the Bears Party, which was great. Because it was an opportunity for a lot of people to market to people that they would not usually have the access to, I think. And somebody, said something about why not make this weekend that we know is happening, like really push those shows that are LGBT themed. And I just thought it was a great idea and a great way if we put it out to the participants maybe. And that's not really on you, I'm just throwing it out there for maybe other venues.
That would definitely be something that we
But you know what I mean? It's like a way to reach.
Yeah.
It's like a way to reach a whole demographic and pull them down here.
In prior years, we marched in the Pride Parade. I used to coordinate that.
Yeah.
But it was it was not particularly well attended by Fringe participants because again, it's in the middle of your first or second, it's the first weekend of the festival, and so people are like not trying to go do that at 7 in the morning and try and get back to it's a logistically tough. Not to say we would never do it again because it was really fun and the visibility is great and it's a festival that we support also.
Well, if it's in the same place, then it looks like there'll be a party in
That was very convenient. That worked out for us. I think, I think having venues push, we can't ever push one show over another regardless of theme or timing.
Of course.
But getting more involved in Pride this year was great for us, for sure. And it was a great year for it. Yeah.
And sort of along the same lines, but loving, being at the Dragonfly this year and everything. And now I feel like it's gotten big enough. Like I'd really like to see more sponsorships.
Us too, yeah.
Yeah, drink sponsorships, food sponsorships, like Pride sponsorships, whatever. I mean, so that's just
that's another thing. We have a very active effort going into. We have one person on staff who is solely dedicated to grant writing and has been for the last year. We have a couple people who seek sponsorship.
Okay, because I was gonna say, because grant writing is different from sponsorship.
Yes.
Okay.
We have both. Yeah. Thank you.
If you would let us know who that is, some of us might have contacts with people who could
for
help.
sponsorship or for, literally, you could throw that anyone on staff and we'd be able to help you.
Okay.
But Con specifically works with sponsorship for major overall festival. Con handles development and government relations. And then if you have someone who's like a food and beverage sponsor, that will go, you could email it to just support at Hollywood Fringe because we have different people working on it prior to the festival.
Okay.
But Lois runs a lot of it during the festival itself. Yeah. We have had relationships like that in the past. They're ones we always go after again every year and they just change.
Sure.
More so than you would think for a festival that does grow and have lots of wonderful, happy people out there.
Is there some cool,
we wonder too, yeah.
There was something that was connected with, in particular, with some of the other issues like Lyft and the car thing. And then there was a Google ad one. Like the second year that was awesome that gave people these Googles. So
I'm
just bringing them up.
Re-open Lyft.
It's always interesting to meet theater in Los Angeles. We'd be down here doing the Fringe, we'd see 3 or 4 shows, we'd have a great time. We'd go up on Hollywood Boulevard and mention the Fringe and people would blink and look at us. That's LA. It may be a building idea. There is a plethora now of new bars and new restaurants all through the Hollywood area that have resurrected that entire section. If it would be possible to offer them some type of program ad, in exchange, give them a CD that they would play at their bar or restaurant at periodic times, which would be a commercial for the Fringe, some highlights, some information, where it would actually get communicated to people who have no idea that theater exists in LA. As a producer in LA, 85% of my job is trying to explain it's not a movie.
Sure. Of course, absolutely. One of the ways we engage bars and restaurants is actually with that hotspot program where if people wear a button into their bar or restaurant, they can give some sort of benefit to those people and we spread visibility that way. We had 25 different places on the roll this year and we approached nearly 50. So there is some outreach going out to local businesses.
They'd probably be open to throwing up
Yeah, the other thing with the ads in the program is that is actually paid ad space that we use to then generate additional marketing. So like the street pole banners that you see throughout Los Angeles, billboards, those are all paid for with revenue from that and from registration fees. And so we are not in the business, there's no availability to give that space away because it's highly in demand.
With that?
Maybe.
Because those, you know, it's just another app.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you could hook them in one way, you know, you can reel them in.
Go ahead.
I would love to see like a post-fringe kind of networking parade of some kind that.
Go ahead.
I would love to be able to help people on their show next year.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Yeah. One of the things that I'm thinking about doing is having office hours once a month, like an informal, different kind of hangout. Like, see how we've never done that in the off time had like mixers and meetup stuff. We usually always kicked it off in the year of the festival, but we're definitely thinking about doing it because they were so popular this year. And then giving people an opportunity to get to know each other with more advance notice, more planning time, stuff like that.
Yeah, new people get into it.
Yeah.
It would be nice just to, you know, keep the spirit of Fringe all year long.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's one of the best things about the Fringe is just the people.
We agree.
Yeah.
We agree. No, I genuinely, we really do. Yeah. They're wonderful. You guys are.
I think there's this organization in the Bay Area called Theatre Bay Area, but they're sort of like a sort of small scale TCG, and they go a long way for creating a sense of coherence a little bit among the community, and I think Fringe sort of does that in a way too. It's like a thing that we can all be in a relationship to, and not that it needs to be that, just that having it present through the year.
Thinking about really year-round engagement is at the top of our minds right now, actually, and has been, throughout the festival. So that is great to hear that people are interested in that idea.
I mean,
Oh, hold on 1 second. Go ahead.
Because it doesn't seem like you have nearly enough to do. I was thinking about like the new people coming in.
Yeah.
There is so much to like putting up a Fringe show. There is so much to handle.
Yeah.
If there were something like a mentorship program where you can sign up to be a mentor, and then maybe in February, if you match up with somebody who's like, hey, I like a mentor, first time, whatever, and then early on, before the onslaught of emails and before the onslaught of events and all that, you're already talking to somebody who's done a Fringe or two who can say, okay, it's February, you want to make sure you got this, you got that, you got. Just because so many of the Fringe issues are the fact that you have to, it's a race. So you have to wait until a certain date, and now you gotta do everything.
I hear you.
To sort of alleviate that, if you have someone who's affiliated with the Fringe, even lightly, like a mentor, and all that means is, you signed up and said you would.
Right.
But to give people a little more of a chance to get a running start coming in, I mean, I for one would sign up. I'd love to talk to somebody who's coming in for the first time, because again, the new people provide that enthusiasm. They bring the enthusiasm in that I'm going to see 65 shows, and all that kind of stuff. But then the folks who've done a few have the wisdom of, bring your own gels, because you never know what's going to happen to the gel, or whatever, those little tricks.
Sure.
And I think it would also, the community that we love so much in that 6 weeks might even expand a little bit more.
Yeah.
And
my guess with that, I love that idea. The first thing I thought of was that I could see a year from now having someone who didn't like their mentor and then being mad at us about it. But that's not to say that it's not a good idea. I think that's something we do try and set the tone for in the workshops that where like other producers talk about their experience in the festival week, and we do three or four of those. So that's the same tone, but encouraging people to meet up in a one-on-one way is a great idea. I just don't know that we would ever be able to organize that, but maybe. And again, great idea. So thank you for putting it out there. Go ahead.
Well, I'm new. That's why I'm here tonight. So I welcome any help.
Okay, great. There you go. Yeah.
This is what I've heard tonight is frightening. So anyone wants to mentor me, hey, I'd like to see them before we leave. It's a great idea, and I do agree.
There you
The
go.
sooner
You got a
start, the
business
better.
card right there. I will say when it comes to things like the town halls and the workshops, they are very, very dedicated to providing information like that. So for first-time participants, we do really encourage attending as many of those as you can.
When do they begin?
They begin in February. When do we do our first town hall? February?
February.
Yeah.
Early March.
Yeah. Sometime in there.
Your fear shows the automation.
Although again, one of the things we're talking about is starting to do them more throughout the year leading up to it.
And like a January venue registration one.
Yeah. All on the, again, yeah. The main feedback we get about town halls and workshops is that people wish there were more of them. So
Right.
I've heard a few people who were like, I already knew that information and didn't need to attend, but for the most part, the majority is that they are very useful. Unless Greg's gonna tell me that he hates them.
Oh no, I love them.
Greg is often on them, so yeah.
I was heartbroken to not be able to attend them all of them this year. There was a lot of them that I missed, but I just to your point about the Fringe mentorship. I mean, I know that I personally have been sought out by new producers at the workshops and the town halls, and have taken them to coffee and done this pretty much ever since like the second year of the festival. It's kind of just like every year, it's like 3 or 4 shows, just getting together with those people and talking it up. I think maybe amongst us that are more established and experienced producers, if we all make a concentrated effort to do the outreach ourselves, as opposed to making the Fringe mandate it, that might help out a lot too. And then those who are seeking the help, we just make ourselves available. And I think just more. I think that kind of stuff's already happening. I think if just more people were willing to step up and do it, then we'd have that kind of effect.
Well, and I think the interesting thing there is a bit of a balance, because as a venue manager, I end up doing quite a bit of that.
Sure, yeah.
But then it's like, but then I get mad that more of the information isn't like obvious on the site, and so I spend a lot. So it's like, I'm happy to do it until it becomes onerous. It's weird.
Sure.
And then
Yeah,
I'm like,
we
I'm
feel the
really
same way.
tired that I agreed to do this. I'm really sad I agreed to do this. So
It's a numbers game.
It's a numbers game.
It's easy in January and February and March to give them all your time and love and attention, and then as the numbers start piling up, it gets a little harder.
Highlighting.
Absolutely.
That's how.
Yeah.
That might be the benefit of some type of a mentor structure. I mean, when you go into like the new internet realms like EverQuest and SimCity, now they hook you up with a mentor.
Okay. I think we have the mentor note captured.
But
I think we have it
it's the
captured.
smallness of the group.
I hear you. Yeah, thank you.
We couldn't all coalesce at the same time.
Yeah, one thing I just remembered is a lot of the later office hours, there were people we came up to that were not in Fringe, and a lot of times they were like, oh, I would have participated in that if I had known about it. So maybe that might be some ammunition to get it earlier office hours, because then they can still have participated if they found out about it.
Yeah, the office hours were relaunched this year. We did them a couple years ago with like semi-regular attendance. This year they went very well. Apparently people like to get together and drink once a week. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna start them in
usually have
August.
like a card or anything that they can take with them, or pamphlet.
Flyer. We try to reduce print, but yes,
Well, I
we
understand
probably
that,
should.
but I mean, even
yeah.
just
a little thing to be like, that's right.
business card, so they.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Also, I mean, speaking of that same idea, the office hours, I could see, this is my first Fringe, so coming up to it was I just kind of came in blind.
Yeah.
I just kind of started developing my own project, and then I signed up, registered, and I knew Aaron, so he was kind of like, I guess, my mentor. But like, between now and next year, if I want to do another Fringe project, I mean, it seems like I never did really, as much as I met a lot of people, and I don't, like, as far as collaborators go, I don't know that I know who I would collaborate with moving forward. So those office hours can do that. I can see that maybe evolving into, something that you guys wouldn't have to spearhead it, like I know a downtown loft where, if you wanted to hey, people who have some projects that they're, thinking about,
right.
Actually a kind of a development, once a month, kind of just toss that,
Right.
I'm a director, I've got this idea, I'm a writer, and I have this thing,
Yeah.
I mean, we did that at UC Santa Cruz way back for this Chautauqua Student Theatre Festival, and that's what we basically all went there and we threw a pool, pool of people.
Yeah, I think a lot of what I'm hearing tonight speaks to more year-round involvement, which is good because we have it on our list to do. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Nevada.
Speaking of collaboration, is there a way that we can have directors get in contact with Fringe talent and have auditions so that we can, you know, maybe help out. You know, I've done 4 Fringes and I'm not putting on a show, but I can definitely help someone who's a new director or whatever.
Yeah.
And that way we can, you know, kind of stay or help each other.
So I think 2 years ago or 3 years ago, we launched Fringe forums, which are like a message board on the Fringe site, which were not used, so we didn't continue to talk about them regularly, perhaps because they share some of the flaws of our messaging system. Maybe I've not used the Fringe forum, so we have tried that in different ways. A lot of it ends up getting accomplished through people's individual channels. They become friends on Facebook or they talk on Twitter, but we don't have an official connector for that yet. The forums were something that came out of a similar suggestion a few years ago, but didn't really work. So
I could see it maybe working a little more now.
Maybe.
That it's getting bigger.
Yeah.
More people are meeting more people, and that way it might be worth a second look to see.
I think year-round events would help do that also.
Would.
But yeah, definitely something that
You can like open audition call or, you know.
Yeah, that we would not do because well, again, and not to take it lightly and by any means, but we do. It is important that we separate ourselves from the artistic producing part of the festival because we are the grand organizer rather than the creator of show. So we wouldn't put out an audition call, but yeah. But
I guess that's something I guess if we organically.
If we're more network, that would be something that we can coordinate. Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of growth like that in the last 5 years. Yeah.
To the point about the Fringe Forum, there's nothing I hate more than having yet another website that I have to log into. And just like what we're talking about with the messaging system, I would almost say that something like an official sanctioned group within a pre-existing network that most everybody involved in the festival is already on, like a Facebook group, might be more beneficial than resurrecting the Fringe Forum. Because you know, I'm all over the Fringe website, and I've been all over the Fringe website for years, and I didn't even know that thing existed. So
right.
You know, so but having been in Sam's Facebook group for the Fringe this year, that was incredibly effective at communicating, and I think if we had one that was for project heads for each year, or for people who, you know, or just that were parts of the community, that would facilitate a lot of this, and then we could coordinate open auditions and things like that, or the mentorship.
Yeah.
I think. I hear it. We get feedback like this often, I think, and we will definitely reconsider it. My personal recommendation would be for everyone to stay in that group and keep using it because it doesn't expire. And then you don't have to create an entire new channel and invite all the same people to the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because we do try and minimize the number of like actions that we ask people to take, because we ask you to take like 1 billion actions. Like you have to register your idea, you have to find a venue, you have to do all this. So while I'm not saying no, and maybe later like Dave will be like, we definitely want to do that, and then I'll be wrong. But I would say if you're all in that group now, y'all should stay in that group and invite more people to it and keep using it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Go ahead.
This may have been mentioned in the first 5 minutes, but just parking.
Yeah.
Is there nothing that?
I mean, we had a paid lot for a year, 2 years. Did we do the paid lot 2 years, Dave? 1 year, which was sorely underused and cost us a pit of money that it didn't make itself back, so we didn't do it again. Short of that, we are huge fans of Metro. Although I know that when you're toting a lot of stuff for a show, that's not useful. But we did experiment with the paid lot before, and it was not successful, unfortunately.
I would just add that there has been discussion over this year, and I'm sure continuing to next, about the city helping with the parking situation in general here. And there has been talks with Fringe and bigger picture plans, but nothing has moved that. There's an awareness of it.
Because that was my biggest complaint. Like I had a lot of people like miss the first 15 minutes. Because we have this thing, right, where we have to start it right on time. And then you have this like exorbitant time to find parking.
Yeah, that is something we can do very little about, unfortunately. But we are trying all the time. We're working.
So maybe we can also like in the ticketing process, like really make that clear. You know, show up your venue 45 minutes earlier.
If something I'm stealing from Stupid Songs is they send out an email to everybody that buys a ticket and it details what the situation is.
Yeah.
And it tells where the venue is. I mean, like all this.
We
got all their emails.
Sure.
And just to go ahead and push something we didn't do that I think is awesome.
It's a great
They
idea.
also do a follow-up email. So you buy a ticket, you get an email taking care of you, then you get the follow-up email saying, thanks for coming. Hey, here's the link for the reviews. So I said, which is why they have, you know, 1 billion reviews, all generally positive because the show took care of them to get them into this very busy, you know, machine. Because we're asking people to kind of jump into a machine, get it right, and you know they got to get in and out just like we do.
Yeah.
So that was something I learned from Stupid Songs that I think is just brilliant and really simple. Just like takes very little time. But really, I saw people at their shows they printed out that email with the directions.
Yeah, well, because I wanted to reach out to Matt, but I didn't realize it was that accessible to do.
Couple things for the future, and just so people know too, the venues we've gotten together and talked and got a list together and are always active working with Fringe with this. But something that's been I've brought up, and I know it's really tough, is the plight of the international performer here, the national performer here. The numbers I know have been going down. We did have the Italian group come back a second year, and they learned a lot from the first year. They came back knowing, wow, we made some mistakes, we've got to get on it.
Right.
One thing, and there's discussion now with this idea of a pop-up venue, and as venue things change, looking at it. And one thing that I'm hoping to propose with that and going in that direction is that idea of the pop-up venue as an international house. That it is actually specifically designed for the international players to live there, because I think that is one of the major concerns of the people living here. And then also build within itself kind of a community of people to see each other's shows, PR each other's shows. It becomes kind of a marketing tool, like, hey, it's the international house. They're all, you know.
That would be amazing.
So I know there's plans for this and stuff, and so I bring it out there because I bring it. I think the international thing and national has gone down a bit, and we all can help. And I know venues are having really tough. It's hard to say yes, book these people, take their money, and then they get 1 or 2 people in the house.
I know, yeah.
So I know.
Yeah.
It's
tricky. We develop a lot of relationships with international artists and festivals as well, because Hollywood Fringe is full of such vibrant and wonderful people. And it is very difficult to carve the right pathway for internationals to come. Particularly because of visa issues, which we.
Well, I think the workaround as well with the kind of game we play. But I think, you know, I don't know if there's something like, again, sponsorships that's been mentioned, Airbnb or something, you know.
Yeah.
It adds to the list I know to do, and
Yeah.
I think a sponsorship house or real estate that space that gets a grant for it specifically for that.
Yeah, we have been following these paths for sure. But yes,
absolutely.
We would love to increase international participation and national participation as well.
Right. Yeah, nationals have it tough too. The other thing I just want to bring up, it came up in the beginning, kind of, and just again to keep it out there. And I know we had a lot of people here from the Asylum. I know this has been discussed, and I know things change, and hopefully for next year. The labeling of the spaces. It destroyed us again this year. And it gets people really angry because they argue with me, well, it says the Asylum. Well, So I just want to make sure that, you know, is captured on the ticket, on the website, in the guide. I know Monica had the same situation. We both set up and made signs, plenty of creative, beautiful signs to move people, but I think capturing them earlier makes it easy on everyone.
Okay.
And then the other thing has to do with process, and I know everybody said that the registration process was good, but something that came up last Post-Mort that people seem to really latch on was the idea of the process being like a status bar on your website. So when you go in, you know, I've created a project. I need now to contact the venue. I've contacted the venue. I have a signed agreement with the venue.
Like a progress bar.
Like a progress, like you have on any buying card. And then at the end, because there was some confusion again this year with groups that, have I fully registered? Have I paid the $250? And there's no direct way for groups to know that. And I think just in the ease, because again, the venues, we deal with those problems. They're coming and talking to us. We go put them through. And I think if that were answered, along with the messaging system, so things can be communicated through, I think that would ease it even more for everyone.
Cool. Thank you. I'm gonna ask actually now, since we're at 8:30, if there's nothing on fire. I just final thoughts, questions, feedback. Just let's capture the final thoughts and grab those.
Great year.
Thanks. Yeah, we had a great time too. Thanks. Thank you.
Bring back the park, definitely the
Parklet.
That was so much
awesome.
It was great.
Yeah.
I agree. Much more successful than we ever could have dreamed. Yeah. In the back.
Parklet was a little zone that we walked out. So they had a bench.
Oh, hold on. We got something back here. Yeah.
I'd like to congratulate you on the design of the program. It was a great design.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was a designer we found online through our design contest. Very talented. And then all the pieces put together by
something that was really frustrating for me.
Yeah.
At the start of trying to register, no phone number. So, you gross almost $500,000 for this fringe, I think. And I think it would be wise to have a phone number. It's really, really frustrating.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
One of the things I ran into on the website, when you go to where they have the schedule, where the tickets are.
Yep.
If a show is sold out, but you wanted to be in a wait line, there was no way of finding out at times. So, and I don't know why. At times there was no way to get when that show and where that show was going to be.
Well, the show's still listed on the schedule when it's sold out. You just aren't able to buy a ticket. As far as the wait listing goes, that's different for everybody.
Sometimes when our show would sell out, it would disappear.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
It would disappear
from
where you priced
on
ticket.
mobile or on a computer?
On computer.
On a computer.
Okay. Noted.
And I did contact them about that. They said, no, that's normal. Okay, well.
Okay.
It's a feature. Yeah.
Okay.
I was afraid that our shows got canceled for some reason.
Okay.
That
Got it.
happened to me as well.
Got it.
Because of the ticket thing.
Got it. Wrote it down. Yep.
I'm sorry.
No, you, Greg.
Okay. When there were a couple of shows that I showed up to that I had reserved tickets for through the site, and I got there and found out the show had been canceled. Not to add anything else to y'all's plate, but it would have been very helpful for me to know about that in advance. And sometimes I found out that the cancellation happened almost days in advance.
Wow.
Yeah, we had a couple shows cancel and not inform us that they canceled.
Yeah, we often find out when someone shows up angry at Fringe Central wanting to know what happened.
Absolutely. So not if there was maybe if there was a process put in place where if somebody had to cancel a performance, that they had to notify the festival, so send out a generated email that says your performance has been canceled, refund available, or whatever.
Right.
I don't
Assuming
know. Any show that did notify us that they canceled, we contacted all the ticket buyers and
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then sometimes I had nights, walking participants to a venue and finding it locked, and us having no notification of the fact that show was canceled. But but we do try and do that.
Absolutely. No, there's no try. We do definitely do that. But if shows don't tell us they're canceled a show, we really can't just pull that out of the ether.
Oh, absolutely. And I know that's
getting ahead.
That's perfectly reasonable. It's just if there was, I don't know, some way to address that.
Support at HollywoodFringe.org. Let us know that you're canceling your show.
I don't want to make that like a requirement or contractual obligation or something like that. I don't know. That'd be my common sense kind of.
The day before the show opens, they get, are you going to do your show?
Well, no, just having done a couple now, I don't remember anything in any of the language about if you're going to cancel a show, this is the protocol.
Yeah, there was a few. We had a few that canceled. We try to push them towards Dave and support and vice versa. But if you cancel, some procedure.
Just having an established protocol people are expected to follow. You can't guarantee that everybody's going to follow 100% of the time, but just knowing what the process is in case.
And to point to it.
now, my account was kind of glitchy throughout most of the thing, but I know that our show got several people who got refunds, but I never had access to getting refunds for my own tickets. And I wondered if that was just a glitch in my system, or was that
completely intentional?
No, I don't know. If
Wait, how do you mean?
Like, okay, so I would say, okay, we sold 50 tickets.
Sure.
And we've had 2 refunds.
Uh-huh.
But if I found out I couldn't go to a show, there was no way I could find to get my own refund.
No.
You have to.
You have to contact.
Oh, is that how you do it? There's no button or anything. I just wanted to make sure that wasn't a glitch. Okay.
Yes, that is intentional.
Cool.
Yeah. Any other final thoughts?
Thank you guys.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you guys. Yep.
Sorry, could you kind of give me an answer on the phone number? I was confused why there was no phone number.
So
I didn't
not having a
elaborate.
phone number is, we have a phone number during the festival itself. The phone number we used to have open the rest of the time, and it was very underused. So we no longer offer the phone number and conduct most of our business through email.
Yeah.
Another major part of that is we have no permanent office for the Hollywood Fringe Festival. Many of us
Right.
work other jobs, so we manage a lot of tasks via
Email.
Yes.
Yeah, which is very
So-
frustrating.
Yeah, it's not to say that it's impossible, but it was a very underused resource that required a lot of man hours, so it's not something that we have this year. It's not to say we would never do it again, but the amount of staff time it took to manage and check, and the amount it was used was not seen as benefit. Yeah.
Yeah. It was
Frankly,
really
yes.
frustrating.
I'm sorry about that. I apologize. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Maybe it may come back. I don't know. We get
No,
yeah,
just to
it may come
answer
back.
like simple questions. It was really a struggle, you know.
Yeah.
Getting registered and
Yeah, I mean,
simple
our
questions
support
again.
email is great for that. It's a very fast response time on that, and a really, really intense team of people who work on it. So it's not like you send an email and you hear back a week later. We're very quick about that. But I do understand the preference to talk to someone on the phone, and that is definitely captured. Yeah, thank you. All right. Yep.
Thank you, Megan, for an extremely engaging, funny.
All right, and on that note, no more questions. Thanks, you guys. Yeah, and again, at any point, if you want us year-round, you can email support@hollywoodfringe.org, and we do check that all year, even if we don't have a phone number. Thank you.